Welcome back to GoSycamores.com. Finally, 2 straight home games for the Indiana State Sycamores. It begins tomorrow with the Youngstown State Penguins. I'm Luke Martin alongside Brian Fritz, your 2017 Indiana State football broadcast crew. And Fritzy, even though it's been a difficult season to this point for Indiana State, they are actually going to be seeing a team this weekend that was once a top 5 team, but they're on a losing skid as well.
Yeah, they've dropped 4 in a row coming in here on Saturday. Both teams obviously at this point desperate for a win. Youngstown State played in the national championship game a year ago with Bo Pelini. It was a very competitive game last year between the Sycamores and Penguins. In fact, this series recently has been full of close games. A year ago, a 79-yard punt return. The difference with the Penguins winning by 4. The year prior to that, Isaac Harker was instrumental in a 3-point Indiana State win. So, these two teams have been very even the last few years, both clearly, desperate for a victory, and, both probably to some degree, a little bit of angering in them and wanting to play better this week.
And you mentioned helping this program in the long term. I think also, even in the short term, having that positive reinforcement. And they're also realistic with their guys, too, that they know where they're at. Coach Heklinski said this week on Coordinator's Corner, we are who we are right now. We got to do it consistently. But that reinforcing message from the top down definitely leaves that door of optimism open for this team each and every week, because who knows, as you mentioned in the Valley, Fritzy, over the years, there's always been those weeks where there's a result or two that you look at and go, didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, no question about it. I think each week we've sat in the booth, there are a few scores that come across that are like that. You don't know what game that's going to be necessarily from week to week, but, that's a consistent theme. And I like that, the team, I feel like, and this has been consistent throughout this year, the effort level, I think, that has been given has been, consistent throughout the year. And, unfortunately, right now, it hasn't felt good for players, coaches, anybody right now with kind of how the season has unfolded. But I really like the way and the approach that both the coaching staff and players continue to have week in, week out in preparing for the next opponent.
These could change by game time tomorrow, because it looks like there's going to be some heavy rain in the forecast for the ball game. But taking out the weather side of it, because it could change the keys, Fritzy, but what do you think will be some of the main point of emphasis from a Sycamore aspect to keep that game close on Saturday and to try to keep the Penguins continue to reel?
I think with Youngstown State, they traditionally, again, have been a power-running team. So your first thing that you have to do on the defensive side of the ball against the Penguins is do your best to get the run game stopped, particularly if the elements enter into it. It might be a day that would lend itself to being tougher to throw the football. So the team that can control the ground on the game on the ground, I think, would potentially have a pretty big advantage on Saturday between Youngstown State and Indiana State. And, hey, Lamont Booker, a guy that is capable of making big plays in the run game. I think that's an area the Sycamores, when they've had the opportunity to spring him to the edges, he's shown that, he can make some plays. So offensively for us, I guess I would start, I know Coach Heck every week talks about quarterback play. I think it's also important up front at the offensive line spots that we block well enough so that we can both run and pass the ball.
Kickoff is tomorrow, 1:00 p.m. at Memorial Stadium. We hope to see you there. If not, you can listen to the game on the radio. The Pepsi Countdown, the kickoff begins at noon. For my partner, Brian Fritz, I am Luke Martin. For more on Sycamore football, you know where to stay. It's right here at GoSycamores.com.